When I was 6, I used to watch an elderly man interrogate teenagers underneath unbearably bright spotlights and plaster murals of whom I thought at the time were various gods, wherein he'd reward the young snot drinkers with hexagons and a lack of genital mutilation if they answered his riddles favourably. Game show or no, it turns out that both our pitiable existences run their diarrhea-like courses under the scrutiny of questioning geriatric, whose only concern is that you obey increasingly oppressive commandments without interrupting the steady flow of Ukrainian rent boys to their homes. For clarification between malfunctioning game show hosts, politicians, and ancient Greek maniacs, we look to the future to discover that in 930 years' time, spaceship manufacturers will be churning out cool-looking freighters and not the Boris Johnson or rusty-socketed sex bots. When it comes to that kind of choice, I want to get inside of an old man with easy rear access and the ability to sleep 3 guys at once. Not you, Barrymore. Gimme Zeus!
If you think I'm sexy.
In short, it's enough to bring sexy back to space trucking, which is actually a pretty Herculean accomplishment in and of itself. The only minor problem is the underside. It has these heat shielding pads on them that very few other ships have, because the future is supposed to have leapt into the realms of energy shields, hyper-advanced metallurgy, and above all else, moving toilets.
So here comes the D. Everybody, stand by.
Personally, I'm a big fan of the remote turret to be found on the bottom of the ship, which is to be used if anyone's looking too shifty down on the ground and you're in the mood to dispense a very short-lived 50 cal existential crisis. But, as a rule, guns and missiles aren't generally found on freighters, although coupled with decent manoeuvrability for interstellar full transit, you can actually turn the Zeus from an unassuming box shifter into something that can slay anyone you come across to harvest their components with the same hunger my whore of an ex devoured other men's cocks. Plural. Also, like Sarah from Stevenage, it's got a giant cavern and long-term storage for phallic-shaped objects.
Hi, Mum.
Sadly, while loading cargo, the ship's paintwork gets beaten like it fucked your daughter because some bright spark thought it might be fun to give the tractor beam tiny arms and swing valuable items around 180 degrees as though ships attempting to have a thalidomide-afflicted wank with dislocated shoulders. It would have been easier to keep the beam emitter in the ship on a rail or some such, but why bother when you can make the player work harder and cause a hazard for others at the same time?
You wouldn't want to come on your own, would you?
I don't know.
Playing Spot the Captain's Bunk is the easiest game in existence because it's the one with the pillow furthest away from the toilet. Everyone else's heads are next to the crapper, so they have to huff one another's shit fumes. And the less said about the lack of privacy, the better.
Look, sweetheart, I'm just trying to be a good stepmom.
Good job, that. Well done.
Delicious looking dick from...
When your software development studio has an on-site barista bar instead of an actual fucking kitchen, then doing things for yourself becomes a purely abstract concept.
Who remembers the big coffee controversy of 2016?
Whatever's for dinner is going to be cold, so there's nowhere to cook anything, and on top of that, there's only seating for 2 of the ship's crew of 3. Yes, 3 command chairs, 3 bunks, 2 dining seats. Don't bother pitying the third guy. Probably calls himself the Dave. Sounds like a cunt to me.
You have a fantastic entrance.
Thank you very much.
Here's an utterly pointless giant fucking circular door that serves no purpose whatsoever because the ship is very obviously designed to land to do anything of note rather than use an umbilical which you can't get the cargo to or through. As bright ideas go, it's right up there with politics, drinking your own piss and Reddit. It's a little bit cramped, but at least the co-pilot and freight officer get free sexy funtime vibe sessions whenever there's a payload launch thanks to the proximity of the missile bay. You can tell because there's a little window, although when you think about it, the entire concept of the window is futile, redundant, and makes about as much sense as using a Teletubby to watch a documentary about intestines. This time around, CRG's brain wrongs are not only minor, but eminently forgivable on account of the sheer fun you can have using the ship beyond its intended function. Honestly, it's really great. It's a solid 4 out of 5 Boris Johnsons from me.
Peppa Pig World is very much my kind of place.
Till next time, take care of yourself and each other.
Well, that about wraps it up for this video. I don't even want you to like, comment or subscribe so the video does well with the algorithm. Frankly, I don't care what you think. The world's full of people like you, and look where that's got us. Now piss off.